Good morning, students. Here we start with the gross anatomy lecture of the lesser sec, part 2, in which we are going to discuss right margin, left margin of the lesser sec and interior of lesser sec. In order to understand right and left margin of lesser sec, we draw a coronal section of the lesser sec. This coronal section, it will help us in understanding the entire basics of the lesser sec. So here, in order to draw the coronal section, which seems a bit complicated, but it is very easy and very interesting. So first, we shall draw at this level, this will be the right colic flexure. Remember a coronal section. You can draw alongside with me in order to understand. Basically, it is very simple and interesting. And on the left hand side, we shall draw over here. This will be the left colic flexure. Remember, these are the coronal sections. The entire lesser sec has been coronally segmented, coronal section of the lesser sec. Then just above the right colic flexure, we are going to show here, at this point, we are going to show the first part of the duodenum. Above the left colic flexure, at this level, we are going to show the cardiac end of the stomach. So this will be the cardiac end of the stomach. So very simple, right colic flexure and left colic flexure. Above the right colic flexure, we draw the first part of the duodenum in coronal section, and above the left colic flexure at this level, we draw the cardiac end of the stomach coronal section. Very simple. And above the first part of duodenum here, we shall draw number 1. That is, of course, this is the liver only, but we are going to show here, this is the vena cava. So this is the vena cava. That is what we are showing. And this vena cava is present in the vena caval groove of the liver. And now, after drawing these structures, first we are going to complete the peritoneum lining the greater sac. The peritoneum lining the greater sac coming from the diaphragm, and after it comes from the diaphragm, it will form superior layer of coronary ligament, and over here it will form the right triangular ligament, and then here it will then continue at the inferior portion of the vena cava, inferior layer of coronary ligament. So here this will be the superior layer, the right triangular ligament over here, and this portion inferior layer of coronary ligament. Now at this level we leave it like this. Then we start with the same. This is, we are tracing the peritoneum of the greater sac. From here we are going to trace, this will be the peritoneum of the greater sac, and after tracing we draw horizontal inferior margin on this side, and we come up with the peritoneum of the greater sac on the left hand side. On the left hand side, we show, after covering, it will form the phrenico-colic ligament, and then once again it goes towards the stomach, and then it will cover the stomach, and then here we show left triangular ligament, and we come down again and we join with this phrenico-colic ligament. Now this segment over here, what we have shown, please mark it as, this is the left triangular ligament over here. This is the right triangular ligament, superior coronary ligament, and here this reflection on the right hand side and this reflection on the left hand side. That means the peritoneum of greater sac is covering the diaphragm. So therefore, here, this is the peritoneum of greater sac lining the diaphragm on this side, and also diaphragm on this side, on the left hand side. Remember, whatever outline we have drawn, that outline corresponds to peritoneum of greater sac. Now, the right margin of the lesser sac. In order to draw the right margin, let us understand step by step how should we draw and what are the boundaries or what are the structures that will contribute to the right margin of the lesser sac. For that, I use yellow color. Now here, the right margin of the lesser sac is, we have to understand at 4 different places. The first place below the level of right colic flexure. Second place between right colic flexure and the first part of duodenum. Third place between the first part of duodenum and the liver. This entire is liver. Remember, this is the bare area of the liver. And fourth will be above the liver. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now that fourth segment which is above the liver, that is a peritoneal reflection from the diaphragm towards the right margin of caudate lobe that I am going to show. So if we take the first segment below the right colic flexure or below the transverse colon, so therefore the right margin, number one, the first segment will be, if I just mention this is the first segment, and in first segment I will mention this as below the transverse colon. So this is the first segment below the transverse colon, right margin of lesser sec. So below the transverse colon, of course, right colic flexure and left colic flexure, these are the components of transverse colon, and since we have divided in coronal section, so the right margin is formed by the right free margin of greater omentum. And here if I complete this forms the right free margin of greater omentum. So remember, segment 1 or level 1 is complete. The right margin of the lesser sec. Now here if I mention this as lesser sec, this entire cavity, the right margin of lesser sec below the level of transverse colon is formed by the right free margin of greater omentum, and this is the right free margin of greater omentum. And see how it will then continue as inferior margin of greater omentum. So here it continues as inferior margin of greater omentum, the inferiormost part of greater omentum. But we are discussing the right margin of the lesser omentum. So therefore, this right margin of the lesser sec is contributed by the right free margin of greater omentum, and this will complete level 1, that is the right margin of lesser sec below the level of transverse colon. It is formed by, once again, the right free margin of the layers of greater omentum, and here, as I repeated, this will continue, the right free margin of the layers of greater omentum will continue here as the inferior most margin of the layers of greater omentum here, and therefore it will form the inferior most part of the lesser sec, which is bounded by the inferior margin of the greater omentum. So level 1 we have completed. Once again, level 1 below the level of the transverse colon is completed by the right free margin of the layers of greater omentum. Now level 2 between the transverse colon and first part of duodenum. This is very interesting. So here we shall simply draw in this manner. Now here in between the transverse colon and first part of duodenum, this will be our level 2, and it is formed by reflection of peritoneum. Here I will write reflection of peritoneum. Reflection of peritoneum between the neck of the pancreas and the posterior part of first segment of duodenum. That is what we are going to show. So therefore, reflection of peritoneum between the pancreas, neck of pancreas and first segment of duodenum. So therefore, this is our second part, and in order to understand this particular plane, the right margin at the level of second phase or second part, which is between transverse colon and first part of duodenum, the right margin of lesser sec is formed by the reflection of peritoneum from the neck of the pancreas to the posterior surface of the first part of duodenum. In order to understand that, please come on this side. If you recollect here, horizontal section of lesser sec, we have drawn at one particular horizontal section. We have shown there was the neck of the pancreas. In one particular section we have shown over here, horizontal section, this is the pancreas, and at this point we have shown the first part of duodenum. This is its posterior wall over here, and on its groove we have shown the gastroduodenal artery. Now here, this is the gastroduodenal artery. So this gastroduodenal artery is also a factor that the peritoneal reflection will be from the neck of the pancreas to the posterior surface of the first part of duodenum along the groove of gastroduodenal artery. So here, if we show the reflection of peritoneum, this is the lesser sac, it is reflected from the neck of the pancreas. This is the pancreas, of course this is the transverse section towards the posterior surface of first part of duodenum along the groove of gastroduodenal artery. So therefore, this reflection of peritoneum from the neck of pancreas to posterior surface of first part of duodenum along the gastroduodenal artery, this is the right margin of lesser sac in between the transverse colon below and above first part of duodenum. Very simple. So this is what we have understood, and this section we have drawn at one of the horizontal sections of the tracing of greater sac. So therefore, in between transverse colon and first part of duodenum, the right margin of lesser sac is formed by reflection of peritoneum from the neck of pancreas to the posterior segment of first part of duodenum along the groove of gastroduodenal artery. Now this, please come on this side, this is what is present at this level between transverse colon and the first segment of duodenum. So this second part of the right margin of lesser sac is nothing but reflection of peritoneum from the neck of pancreas to posterior surface of first part of duodenum along the gastroduodenal artery. So second segment of the right margin includes this much. Second segment of the right margin of lesser sac will include this much. Now one more step upwards. Third segment. Third segment is between the first part of duodenum, and of course this is what we have drawn as the part of liver with inferior vena cava. We know this superior layer of coronary ligament, inferior layer of coronary ligament, the right triangular ligament, that is what we are showing posteriorly. So between liver and first part of duodenum is the third segment. And this third segment here, simply if I mark this as the third segment, and this third segment is totally contributed by presence of epiploic foramen, a very, very important topic, epiploic foramen. The other name of epiploic foramen is foramen of Winslow. And remember, epiploic foramen will communicate greater sac with that of the lesser sac, or foramen of Winslow, or it is called editus to lesser sac. It communicates the greater sac with that of the lesser sac, epiploic foramen. So third segment, the right margin of the lesser sac in between first part of duodenum and liver is known as the third segment of right margin, and that has the presence of epiploic foramen, and therefore with a horizontal arrow we show this as epiploic foramen. Now what are the boundaries of epiploic foramen? That is very interesting, and that you should understand because these boundaries are asked in 1 mark question answers or in MCQs. So in the coronal section, how do we draw? We draw in this way. We show one fold. Here I am showing this fold, and then I am closing this boundary below. Now here this fold, in that fold I am going to mark the hepatic artery. This is coronal section and this is hepatic artery. And this fold will be posteriorly somewhat superior to first part of duodenum. And the name of this fold, please mention this fold as either it is inferior gastropancreatic fold or it is known as the right gastropancreatic fold of lesser sac, that is of peritoneum of lesser sac. And present inside that fold, or that fold is elevated by presence of artery. The name of that artery will be It is known as hepatic artery. Now we come to epiploic foramen. Now this epiploic foramen, we have to understand the boundaries of epiploic foramen, because epiploic foramen is one of the right margins of lesser sac, which is present between first part of duodenum below and above liver. So therefore, please come on this side once again. Here we shall understand the epiploic foramen. This is very simple. Now the entire epiploic foramen is bounded in such a way that superiorly there will be caudate process of the liver. So here I am going to show this as the caudate process of the liver. It is also known as caudate lobe of liver or caudate process, both caudate lobe, caudate process of liver, superior. And here we show this is, let us show this as the epiploic foramen. Once again, this is the coronal section. So superiorly it is bounded by liver. Which portion of liver? Caudate process or caudate lobe of liver. Inferiorly, now this is where duodenum is there, remember. So inferiorly it is bounded by the first part of the duodenum, the first portion of the duodenum. And also there is a peritoneal reflection, and that peritoneal reflection is nothing but, it is known as the right gastropancreatic fold or inferior gastropancreatic fold. And that peritoneal reflection here, if I mark it, that peritoneal reflection, that is the inferior gastropancreatic fold, or it is known as the right gastropancreatic fold. So here I will mark this as the right gastropancreatic fold or inferior gastropancreatic fold. That will be because of the underlying hepatic artery, or rather in that there will be presence of the hepatic artery. This is the hepatic artery. So therefore here I will mark this as the hepatic artery. So epiploic foramen, which is present between the first part of duodenum below and above caudate lobe of liver, it is known as foramen of Winslow, which will communicate greater sac with that of the lesser sac on the left hand side. Boundaries of epiploic foramen: superiorly caudate lobe of liver, below there will be first part of duodenum with a fold of peritoneum which is reflected posteriorly and superior to the first part of duodenum, that is known as inferior or right gastropancreatic fold, which will contain hepatic artery. So these are the inferior relations of epiploic foramen. Now anterior relations. Remember anterior relations of epiploic foramen, in which we have discussed so many times. There will be presence of three structures in the right free margin of the lesser omentum. So the anterior layer of epiploic foramen will contain three structures in the right free margin, and those three structures will be: number one, presence of bile duct, presence of hepatic artery, and presence of portal vein. So these three structures are present anterior to epiploic foramen: bile duct, hepatic artery, portal vein. Bile duct, hepatic artery, portal vein. These are asked as MCQs or 1 mark question answer. Remember, the boundaries of epiploic foramen is always asked in 1 mark question answer or in MCQs. So anteriorly the epiploic foramen is bounded by three structures present in its right free margin. And what are those three structures? Bile duct, hepatic artery, portal vein. Bile duct, hepatic artery, portal vein. And now we are left with posterior. Now posteriorly you have to remember only one bony landmark, and that bony landmark here I shall mark it as T12, body of T12 vertebra. And in front of that body of T12 we shall draw one vein, and that vein will be known as inferior vena cava. So therefore there will be presence of body of T12 and there will be presence of inferior vena cava posterior to epiploic foramen. And of course this inferior vena cava is covered by fold of peritoneum. Boundaries of epiploic foramen. Please note down the boundaries of epiploic foramen and try to memorize it in this diagrammatic manner so you can remember it long time. you can retain it for longer duration. Superiorly, caudate lobe of liver, inferiorly, the first part of duodenum, including the right gastropancreatic fold of peritoneum, which will have the common the hepatic artery. Anteriorly, it will have three structures anterior to epiploic foramen, that will be bile duct, hepatic artery and portal vein. And posteriorly, we have T12 body, along with that inferior vena cava, which is covered by peritoneum. So these are the boundaries of epiploic foramen. Now, if we come on this side, please come on this side. Here, where my finger is there, this is the epiploic foramen which we have discussed. And you have to mention the boundaries at this level. So the right margin, third segment between the first part of duodenum and liver is epiploic foramen, which we have discussed. Third segment is over. And then after third segment comes the fourth segment. And what is the fourth segment? This level will be the fourth segment. And in this fourth segment, we shall mark it as this entire lining, right margin of lesser sac. Now here we will continue with the right margin of the lesser sac. It will continue over this right margin of the caudate lobe of liver. And then it will be reflected to the diaphragm. Here it will be reflected to the diaphragm. This completes the fourth level, the fourth stage, that is above the epiploic foramen. Now above the epiploic foramen, the fourth stage, the right margin of the, we are discussing the right margin of the lesser sac. We have reached above the epiploic foramen. Above the epiploic foramen, straight away liver is present. So where this lesser sac is, right margin is reflected, the right margin of lesser sac above the epiploic foramen is nothing but peritoneal reflection from diaphragm to the right margin of caudate lobe. That means over here in this coronal section, I can term this as caudate lobe. So therefore, this is the caudate lobe over here, and this is the right margin of the caudate lobe. Remember, this level we have drawn so many times posteriorly also. This level we have drawn so many times posteriorly also, in which we have shown inferior vena cava, the bare area, superior and inferior coronary ligament, right triangular ligament, and of course caudate lobe. Now this is from the front, coronal section from the front. So therefore, the reflection of peritoneum along the right margin of caudate lobe of liver, and then it is reflected to the upper margin of the lesser sac. Now here, this is the peritoneal reflection of the upper margin of the lesser sac that we have discussed in the previous segment. Upper and lower margins we have discussed in part 1, reflection of peritoneum, lesser sac. So here it will continue with the upper margin of the lesser sac. So right margin is completed. Now in order to generally consider the entire right margin of lesser sac, we have divided the entire right margin of lesser sac into 4 different stages, 4 different zones. Number 1, below the level of transverse colon, in which it is formed by the right free margin of greater omentum. Number 2, between the transverse colon and the first part of duodenum, the right margin is formed by reflection of peritoneum from the neck of pancreas to posterior part of the first part of duodenum across the groove for gastroduodenal artery. Then third stage, that is between the duodenum and liver. In the third stage, we have to show epiploic foramen, presence of epiploic foramen in its right margin. Remember, that is the only place, this is the only place where the right margin will be deficient because of epiploic foramen. And this epiploic foramen will communicate greater sac on right hand side with lesser sac on left hand side. And the boundaries of epiploic foramen we have shown over there. We have discussed superior, inferior, anterior, posterior. And in the epiploic foramen, in the inferior part, we have discussed inferior gastropancreatic fold or right gastropancreatic fold, in which there is presence of hepatic artery. And the fourth segment is above the level of epiploic foramen. Above the level of epiploic foramen, the right margin of the lesser sac is completed by reflection of peritoneum from diaphragm to the right margin of caudate lobe of liver. And then it is continuous with the upper margin of lesser sac. So in this way, right margin of the lesser sac we have completed in 4 different parts. It is deficient, remember, in the third part as epiploic foramen between the first part of duodenum and the liver above. Very simple, do not complicate. This is how you have to understand the right margin. Now we come to the left margin. Let us come on this side, the left margin. Left margin we divide into 3 stages or 3 different parts, 3 different levels. Just as the right margin we have divided into 4, right 3. Now 3, the first will be below the level of transverse colon. So we take this left colic flexure as coronal section. So below the level of transverse colon, we shall make this as the first segment below the level of transverse colon. Now below the level of, now here I will just mention below the level of transverse colon, this is the first segment of the left margin. It is formed by the left free margin of greater omentum. Just as here on the right margin it is by right free margin of greater omentum. So here also there will be left free margin of greater omentum. So here I will continue this layer of lesser sec as the left margin. So this is the left margin which is contributed by the left free margin of greater omentum, remember. So below the level of transverse colon, the left margin of the lesser sec is contributed by left free margin of greater omentum. Second level, between transverse colon and cardiac end of the stomach. Between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach. Here we will draw this left margin of lesser sec in such a way that it will form a very important structure, and that structure, this one. And here I will show this as the second stage between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach. And this left margin is represented by inner layers of or inner parts of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments. So these are the inner parts of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments, gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments. And how does it form the inner layer of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligament? This segment of left margin of lesser sec between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach, this much segment. Now in order to understand this much segment present between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach, let us draw on this side. Please come on this side. Please come on this side. Here, if you consider this, we have drawn so many times, we have shown this. This is the section of the stomach. Remember the cross section, horizontal section. Here we have shown so many times over here the spleen. And at this level we have shown so many times the presence of the left kidney. In this way, stomach, spleen, left kidney. Remember this at the level of epiploic foramen, horizontal section at the level of epiploic foramen. And here we have shown so many times the presence of, if I draw it on this side, this is the lining of the greater sec. If you recollect, this is how the lining of the greater sec continues. Now if you draw the inner sec, that is the lesser sec, the inner lining of the lesser sec, then it will continue from posterior surface of the stomach over the gastrosplenic ligament, and then as the lienorenal ligament, and then it will continue. Therefore, this we have understood so many times, this is the lesser sec, and here we have understood that this is known as the gastrosplenic ligament, and this we have understood it as lienorenal ligament. Both the ligaments we have understood. So therefore, the peritoneal reflection as the posterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament, which will continue as anterior layer of lienorenal ligament. And these two layers are nothing but the left margin of lesser sec between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach. And this posterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament and anterior layer of lienorenal ligament, they both are also known as inner layers of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments. And you can easily understand why they are called inner layers of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments, because they are situated on the inner side. So this is the peritoneal reflection that we are referring here. Now please come on this side. That is what we have understood at this level. So here at this level, second stage between the transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach, the left margin of lesser sac is represented by the inner linings of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments. That is what we have understood from there, from that cross section. So the inner layers of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments, that is posterior layer of gastrosplenic ligament and anterior layer of lienorenal ligament, they will form the left margin of the lesser sac between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach. So here we end our second phase between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach, that is of the left margin, how the left margin of lesser sac is formed by the inner layers of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments. Now comes the third and the most important, and that will be this one, above the level of cardiac end of stomach. That is the third one. So first let us mark this here, the third, that is above the level of cardiac end of stomach. And here, this above the level of cardiac end of stomach, it will be contributed by gastrophrenic ligament. Please try and understand this. And here I am going to show this gastrophrenic ligament. This gastrophrenic ligament will have now another fold of peritoneum, just as here we have shown this fold. This fold where my finger is there on the right margin, here we have shown this as inferior or right gastropancreatic fold, and here we are going to show this fold as superior or left gastropancreatic fold. So here we are going to mark this as superior gastropancreatic fold, or it is known as left gastropancreatic fold. And it will contain an artery, and that artery we are going to show this artery as left gastric artery. Presence of this artery here, we shall mark it as left gastric artery. Just as this fold contained which artery? The right gastropancreatic fold contained hepatic artery, the left gastropancreatic fold will contain left gastric artery. Now we need to understand this gastrophrenic ligament. Above the level of cardiac end of stomach, the left margin of lesser omentum is formed by gastrophrenic ligament. How it is formed? For that we need to draw this and understand in a different manner coming up. So therefore that gastrophrenic ligament, here we are having the left crus of diaphragm, and at this level we show, here we show the cardiac end of the stomach. Now the gastrophrenic ligament is a triangular fold of peritoneum which will extend from the left cross of diaphragm to the posterior surface of the cardiac end of stomach, where there is a bare area of the stomach, and it is a triangular fold of peritoneum. So this triangular fold of peritoneum, if I draw in this way, is the gastrophrenic ligament extending from left crus of diaphragm to the posterior surface of the cardiac end of stomach, which is the bare area of the stomach. And its right margin, now the right margin, this right margin of the gastrophrenic ligament, now here this is the gastrophrenic ligament, its right margin will form a sickle shaped fold of peritoneum in the lesser sac, and that sickle shaped fold of peritoneum will be known as superior gastropancreatic fold, or it is called left gastropancreatic fold. So remember, the right margin of the gastrophrenic ligament will form a sickle shaped fold of peritoneum within the lesser sac, which will be known as superior gastropancreatic fold. And therefore, now after understanding this gastrophrenic ligament, please come on this side. Therefore, this is the fold and this is the gastrophrenic ligament, which is the third segment above the level of cardiac end of stomach. This gastrophrenic ligament, its right margin will form this fold. that is superior gastropancreatic fold or left gastropancreatic fold. And therefore, after forming this fold, it will continue, see this left margin, it will continue above as diaphragm, and then it will continue with superior recess of the lesser sac. This is the superior recess of lesser sac. And at the level of superior recess of lesser sac, it will continue through this superior recess of lesser sac with above diaphragm and with the right margin. So here we complete the left margin. Now the entire left margin, remember we started with below the level of transverse colon where there will be presence of this left free margin of greater omentum. Then between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach where we have shown the left margin as inner layers of gastrosplenic and lienorenal ligaments. And at this level, always note down one more structure. The left colic flexure is suspended from diaphragm by this ligament which we have shown over here. And this will be known as phrenico-colic ligament. So this is the phrenico-colic ligament suspending the left colic flexure from the diaphragm. Then above the cardiac end of stomach, we have shown the left margin as gastrophrenic ligament. Gastrophrenic ligament above the cardiac end of stomach. And that gastrophrenic ligament, which is triangular, which we have understood it diagrammatically, its right margin will form this fold, superior gastropancreatic fold or left gastropancreatic fold, and it will be reflected to the superiorly to the under surface of diaphragm, and then it is reflected on this side as the upper margin of the lesser sac. So here we have completed the left margin of the lesser sac, including below the transverse colon, between transverse colon and cardiac end of stomach, and above the cardiac end of stomach as gastrophrenic ligament. That gastrophrenic ligament, its right margin will form superior gastropancreatic fold. And then above the gastrophrenic ligament, it will continue with the under surface of diaphragm. And also it will line here, the superior, continue as the superior recess of the lesser sac. So here we have finished the right margin and the left margin of the lesser sac. Thank you very much.